this is a hard video to make. Hey y'all, welcome back to another video on my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Jesslyn, and I am a recent graduate of the University of Alabama with a degree in music, and I also have ADHD. It's still very new to me, and I wanted to explain my entire story and what led up to it on getting diagnosed at 22. Also, while this video is going on, if you catch me looking down, it is because I have written out an entire script of what to say in this video because I don't want to miss anything. And I want to make sure that I make this video as coherent and cohesive as I possibly can for both my own mental well-being as well as like my editing, to make that whole process a little bit easier, and to also make the story a little bit easier for you to understand and be able to follow. So let's get into it. So first and foremost, what is ADHD? Well, according to the CDC, ADHD, or Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, is considered a neurodevelopmental disorder and is usually diagnosed in childhood. Usually. Symptoms can vary, but common ones include the inability to focus and not being able to sit still. ADHD is not something that will ever go away. Now, treating symptoms over time can help lessen the effects of it, but it never goes away. You are born with ADHD. It cannot randomly develop over time. However, of course, the signs and symptoms can of course increase over time, like how it did with me. So, my experience. I have always shown signs of ADHD as a child. I was never focused long enough to clean my room. I always had to do something with my hands in school in order to learn, including like doodling, poking erasers with a pencil until they were literal crumbs, and even picking flesh off of my fingers, which I still do to this day. I have also always had the tendency of bouncing my leg and even chewing on the inside of my cheeks. As I got older, more and more signs became apparent. Inability to physically make myself get up and clean, getting easily overwhelmed with dozens of projects all in various stages of completion, easily getting distracted in conversations, 90 plus tabs open in my brain at all times. Usually at least 3 of them are playing 3 different songs at once, forgetting things extremely easily, mood swings, lack of motivation, and so many others. Those are just the biggest ones that I can remember off the top of my head. Now, for a while I thought I was just lazy and I couldn't understand why I just couldn't do the thing. Things really hit the fan in November of 2020 when I was unable to clean my entire apartment before my parents came down for Thanksgiving. I remember specifically that when my parents opened the door and they saw my apartment, I immediately broke down into tears. Now, I had been really open and honest with the struggles I had been facing recently and stuff, so it wasn't a surprise, especially for my mom, to find my apartment in that state. She knew I had been struggling, been open and honest with that, and for them to actually see how bad I was struggling was really, really hard. This story is like really, really emotional to me because it's still so new, still so fresh, and like I'm just, like I have only been getting treatment for less than a month. I've only been getting medication for less than a month at this point. So while I do have a good support system now and everything else, I still do feel a lot of shame from this time. So please bear with me through the tears. As I was saying, it wasn't a surprise when they came in through the door to them, but I was so ashamed. I was upset at myself for not being able to complete basic adult things and wondering what was wrong with me. I remember my mom gave me the biggest hug and just let me sob on her shoulder for a little bit. And once I was finally able to compose myself, she was able to help clean my apartment up with me, which I am so very, very grateful for. And to this day, I still tell her how thankful I was for her to help me like that. I remember at the time, and the one time she's helped me since before I got treatment started. Both times I was in tears, thanking her profusely, and I specifically remember my mom telling me, if you don't stop telling me thank you, I'm gonna whip your ass. And like, my mom's a Southern mama, and that kind of stuff is normal, especially with my parents, and it made me laugh, and that was her whole point. Her whole point was just to make me giggle a little bit, and also to stop saying thank you. But she helped me get my apartment back in order, and over Christmas break, so December of 2020, me and my mom had a really, really deep conversation about everything and what was going on in my head. She mentioned to me in the middle of this conversation, and I remember this specifically, like this exact quote from my mom, maybe we should get you tested for ADHD. And as soon as she said that, things really started to click in my head. I had never considered ADHD before this, and I only knew like the stereotypical thing of not being able to focus, which I couldn't focus, but I didn't know that ADHD was a possibility until my mom said it. This led me to starting to do a bunch of research, and I found a whole community of people with ADHD who were experiencing and struggling the same things that I was. And that really meant a lot to me, and it made me feel less alone. After 3 months of trying to find someone to test me, we were contacting multiple psychiatric facilities and mental health professionals, and either they did not do testing or they had a wait list of 4+ months. And we didn't have that kind of time, because these were in-person tests, and after 4 months I wasn't going to be in said area, so it wasn't feasible to do any of that. So my mom asked around at her workplace, because she works in the medical field, and she was able to find some connections to a pediatric psychiatrist who was willing to help test me. He understood the struggles with getting tested, and he was willing to test me, an adult. And sure enough, he tested me remotely in March, and on April 14th, 2021, I was officially diagnosed with ADHD, and I was prescribed medication for it. Specifically, I was prescribed Adderall, because my insurance did not cover his first choice. Now, with all that being said, you may be wondering, why the heck wasn't it caught earlier? And there are so many factors that contribute to this, and why it wasn't caught sooner. The first being, I attended a private Christian school as a child until about 5th grade, and this school was adamant with drilling us and using fear tactics to will us kids into submission of how they wanted us to act. Because of this, it got really, really, really easy for me to mask the biggest signs of my ADHD. Also during this time, research into ADHD was done only with boys. And for the longest time, medical professionals believed that ADHD was only found in males. As more and more research was conducted and as more and more girls have been invited to participate, it has led to a greater understanding of how ADHD affects girls and adult women. Nonetheless, there is still a huge gap between boys and girls when it comes to an ADHD diagnosis. As it stands right now, most females do not get diagnosed until they are adults. To add my own experience to this, my own pediatrician and my own mother did not catch any of the signs that I was showing as a child. Mainly because this research of ADHD in girls was not out there, and there was such a huge societal stigma on ADHD, and there were so many stereotypes of ADHD and getting medicated for ADHD that were in place at the time and still is to this day, which annoys me like nobody's business. The point I want to make known in making this video is to let those who are diagnosed with ADHD as a kid or as an adult like me or are working towards a diagnosis to know that you are not alone. I also want to help educate others on ADHD and how it can affect different people through different situations and experiences. In the coming months, I will be doing more ADHD content and will even talk about how it has affected my time in college. If you're interested in watching these, please subscribe down below, and you can even click the bell notification button thing so that you can get notified every single time I post a new video. I really hope you enjoyed hearing my story, and if you feel comfortable in doing so, you can even leave your own stories down below in the comments. If you have any questions about ADHD or any questions on my personal experiences with it, you are more than welcome to also leave these down in the comments below. I will either answer them through one of my future videos, or I will even answer them down in the comments below. If you want to watch my daily life and the struggles I have with ADHD, you can check out my blog channel. It's always listed down below in the description box. Right now I'm uploading a lot of the footage that I took from this past school year. Right now I'm uploading footage from August of 2020, and you can just see my progression through the school year as up until my diagnosis. If you're interested in watching that, you can go check out my blog channel down below. The first video of my fall semester is already out, and my next one will be out tomorrow. So thank you guys once again so much for watching, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!